There are moments in life when a single laugh, a dismissive sneer, can shatter your world and ignite a fire you never knew existed. For me, that moment came at my cousin's engagement party. My family, all dressed in their finest, guffawed, whispered, and outright mocked my fiancé, David, right to his face. They called him a nobody, a loser, and a freeloader, all because he wasn't what they considered up to their standards. Little did they know, their scorn wasn't just fueling my hurt, it was setting the stage for a revelation that would turn their entitled faces ghostly pale. If you've ever felt like your family undermined your choices or belittled someone you love, hit that like button and let me know in the comments how you dealt with it. My name is Kimberly, and from the moment I could understand what favoritism meant, I knew I wasn't the golden child. That coveted title belonged to my older brother, Mark. Growing up, everything revolved around Mark, his academic achievements, his athletic prowess, even his most mundane opinions. My parents, Aunt Carol and Uncle Richard, my cousins, they all showered him with praise, expensive gifts, and endless opportunities. I, on the other hand, was the quiet, artistic one, often overlooked, my achievements met with a polite nod at best, or more often, a dismissive wave. I remember my 10th birthday. Mark had just won a local science fair, and the celebration for him felt grander than anything I'd ever experienced. My own birthday cake was small, and the gifts were few, mostly practical items. I overheard my Aunt Carol tell my mother, "Kimberly is so low maintenance, isn't she? Not like Mark, who truly deserves all this fuss." The words stung, a constant dull ache that never truly went away. When I got into my dream art college on a scholarship, my parents' reaction was a lukewarm, "That's nice, dear. Are you sure you wouldn't prefer something more practical?" They even suggested I give up my scholarship so Mark could use the funds for his MBA abroad, even though he didn't even qualify. Their indifference was a bitter pill I swallowed countless times. The inciting incident, the last straw, came when I introduced them to David. David was a kind, brilliant, and hardworking man. He was a software engineer, but he wasn't flashy. He drove an older car, lived modestly, and prioritized his passions over material possessions. My family, with their obsession with appearances and status, took one look at him and dismissed him entirely. At our engagement dinner, my mother actually asked, "Kimberly, are you sure he can provide for you? He doesn't seem to have much to offer." My father scoffed, "He's just an engineer." We had hoped for someone more substantial, like Mark's future father-in-law, who owns multiple businesses. The utter humiliation and disrespect they showed David, the man I loved, was a deep, searing wound. It was then, seeing the quiet hurt in David's eyes, that something inside me snapped. I wasn't just determined to prove my worth, I was determined to prove our worth and ensure they regretted every single cruel word. The period after our engagement was tough. David and I decided to elope, not because we didn't want a big wedding, but because we couldn't bear another round of family ridicule. We poured our energy into our careers. I started an online art gallery, selling my own work and curating pieces from other emerging artists. It was slow going at first. I worked tirelessly, often late into the night, juggling marketing, sales, and creation. David, meanwhile, immersed himself in his work at a tech startup. He was always passionate about his projects, but after our engagement, his drive became almost fierce. He'd spend hours coding, strategizing, and pushing for innovative solutions. We ate ramen, we saved every penny, and we supported each other through every setback and small victory. Our chosen family became our lifeline. My best friend, Sarah, was my sounding board, my biggest cheerleader, and my first gallery client. David's former professor, Dr. Anya Sharma, became a mentor to him, recognizing his extraordinary talent and connecting him with influential people in the tech world. These were the people who saw our potential, who celebrated our successes, and who offered genuine, unconditional support. Everything my blood family withheld. They were our rock, our true family. As my art gallery slowly gained traction and David's startup began to make waves, my family remained blissfully ignorant. Their condescension never wavered. At family gatherings, if I ever mentioned my gallery, my mother would interject, "Oh, Kimberly's still playing with her paints. Mark, tell them about your latest promotion." My Aunt Carol would openly joke about David's modest job, asking if he was still tinkering with computers. They even tried to set me up with more suitable bachelors, completely disregarding my marriage to David. Their disregard was a constant reminder of their shallow values, and it only solidified my resolve. I knew a storm was brewing, and they were utterly unprepared for its force. The setting for their comeuppance was a corporate gala, ostensibly celebrating the 50th anniversary of Viridian Industries, a massive tech conglomerate. My Uncle Richard, a mid-level manager there, had practically boasted nonstop about securing tickets for the entire family. My parents, Mark, Aunt Carol, and Uncle Richard were all there, radiating an air of self-importance. They barely acknowledged David and me when we arrived, quickly drifting off to hobnob with what they considered important people. My Uncle Richard, spotting a senior executive across the room, dragged my father and Mark over, saying loudly, "This is it, boys. Networking time. Maybe we can get Mark a leg up." My mother and Aunt Carol were busy scrutinizing the jewelry of other guests, whispering about their perceived status. They were in their element, completely oblivious to the dramatic irony unfolding around them. The moment came when the company's long-standing CEO, Mr. Henderson, stepped onto the stage for his retirement announcement. He spoke eloquently about his tenure and then, with a flourish, announced his successor. It is with immense pride and complete confidence that I introduce the new Chief Executive Officer of Viridian Industries. He boomed, a visionary leader who has transformed our most successful subsidiary and is poised to lead us into a new era of innovation, Mr. David Miller. A hush fell over the crowd. My family, who had been laughing and chatting just moments before, froze. My mother's glass clattered to the floor, spilling champagne. Aunt Carol's eyes bulged, her mouth opening and closing without sound. Uncle Richard's face, usually ruddy, drained to an ashen gray. Mark, who had been preening, looked like he'd been punched in the gut, his jaw hanging slack. David, my David, walked onto the stage, a calm, confident smile on his face. He shook Mr. Henderson's hand, and the applause was thunderous. He looked directly at me in the crowd, and for a brief moment, our eyes met. It was a look of shared triumph, a quiet victory for all the years of dismissal. As David began his acceptance speech, articulate and commanding, my Uncle Richard finally stammered, "Miller? David Miller? No, it can't be. Our David?" My father, pale and shaken, could only nod, eyes fixed on the stage as if seeing a ghost. My mother mumbled something about a mistake. Then, Mr. Henderson, still on stage, added, and I must say, Mr. Miller often spoke of the incredible support he received from his wonderful wife, Kimberly, an accomplished artist in her own right, whose burgeoning online gallery has caught the attention of many of us here tonight. He gestured subtly in my direction. The spotlight, for a fleeting moment, was on me. My family whipped their heads around, their faces a mixture of utter disbelief and dawning horror. The tables hadn't just turned. They had been completely overturned, smashing their world of perceived superiority into a million pieces. The immediate aftermath was chaotic, at least for my family. As David was swarmed by well-wishers, my mother, Aunt Carol, and Uncle Richard descended upon us, their earlier dismissiveness replaced by an unsettling blend of fawning praise and desperate excuses. "David, my dear boy, we always knew you had potential," my mother gushed, attempting to hug him. "Kimberly, you never told us your gallery was so significant," Aunt Carol chirped, her voice falsely sweet. Uncle Richard, ever the opportunist, tried to pitch a brilliant idea to David on the spot. I watched them, a profound sense of calm washing over me. There was no anger, just a quiet satisfaction. David, ever gracious but firm, politely deflected their attempts. "Thank you for your kind words," he said. "But Kimberly and I have a busy evening ahead." He introduced me to several key figures from Viridian Industries, who genuinely praised my gallery and extended invitations for collaborations. It was validation from people who truly mattered, people who saw our worth, not our social standing. The dynamics within the wider family shifted dramatically. My parents, after several awkward attempts to make amends, which mostly involved thinly veiled requests for David's influence or financial assistance, slowly faded from our regular interactions. I maintained a cordial distance, recognizing that their conditional love would never truly change. Mark, initially resentful, eventually grew distant, unable to reconcile his image of himself as the golden child with David's undeniable success. The few relatives who had shown us genuine kindness over the years, however, drew closer. My distant cousin Lisa, who had always secretly admired my art, became a frequent visitor and a true friend. My life, and David's, continued to flourish. My online gallery expanded, attracting international clients and leading to invitations for prestigious exhibitions. David, as CEO, spearheaded innovative projects that further solidified Viridian Industries' market leadership. We traveled, we invested in our passions, and we built a life rooted in mutual respect and unwavering support. The revenge wasn't about their suffering, though their shock was undeniable. It was about our liberation. It was about defining family, not by blood, but by behavior. My chosen family, David, Sarah, Dr. Sharma, and our true friends, provided the unwavering support that my blood relatives never could. I no longer yearned for their approval. I was finally at peace, knowing my worth was intrinsic, not dependent on their validation or the size of David's paycheck. The bitter taste of their scorn had been replaced by the sweet satisfaction of self-reliance and true belonging. My story is a testament to a powerful truth. Your worth is not defined by others' limited perceptions, especially not by those who choose to undervalue you. Turning the pain of neglect into a powerful purpose, a drive to build something truly yours, is the ultimate vindication. Boundaries are not just necessary, they are liberating. They protect your peace and allow you to cultivate relationships that genuinely nourish your soul. If you're out there feeling invisible, overlooked, or constantly battling the dismissive attitudes of those who should be your biggest cheerleaders, remember this: your time will come. Your quiet resilience, your hard work, and your unwavering belief in yourself will eventually speak volumes. Don't seek their approval. Seek your own success and build a life surrounded by those who truly see and celebrate you. Like and subscribe if this resonated with you. And share your own stories of overcoming adversity in the comments below. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, please share this video with them.